Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Turtles Fever again, so for today's video I thought I'd list every Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle game released and give my thoughts on each one. Instead of just giving a ranking, I decided it might be a better idea to list them in chronological order from the very first Turtles game released in 1989 to the final game released in 2017. There's a lot of games in this one, so to make things easier to digest it will be a two-part video. I will be listing every game released on home computers, consoles and arcade, as well as handhelds such as the Game Boy. The only systems I won't be listing are handheld electronic games, the Game & Watch series, mobile games and plug and play games. I will only be covering an original single release of each game and not releases of the same game on different systems.
Is this gonna take a long time?
So with that out of the way, let's get straight into it with the very first appearance of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in a video game. Konami acquired the license for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles franchise around the same time the animated series began airing in 1987 and began development on both an arcade and console game shortly after. The arcade game was a worldwide hit and Konami's highest grossing arcade game of all time. I've covered this in my top 5 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle games, so do check that one out to get the full story on the original and totally awesome arcade coin-up. This was the very first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle video game on home computers and consoles in which the player can switch between any of the 4 turtles at any time. After spending all my hard-earned pocket money as a kid on the coin-up in my local arcade, I had high hopes for this being a similar type of arcade-style brawler in my old Commodore 64. Instead, it turned out to be a generic 2D side-scroller mixed with overhead areas that you have to explore to progress through the game.
Don't take it so hard! You did a good job! Psych!
This conversion was titled Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game, in order to avoid confusion with the previous NES game based on the franchise. On paper, it sounded pretty great. 2 new levels, new enemy characters, including 2 new bosses created specifically for the NES. Even the original stages from the arcade were extended. Finally, it was the original arcade on a home console. Except the NES, as well as every other home system at this time, just didn't have the hardware requirements to give an experience anything like the arcade. So what we got was a watered down version instead. The NES version was a damn good effort though, and still the best 8-bit conversion of the original coin-up. For a Game Boy game, this wasn't bad at all. It's a bit limited in depth, but the simple platforming action is engaging enough to keep you playing. The audio effects and music are what you would expect from a Game Boy, but some of the visuals are actually pretty decent. It also goes down in video game history as being the first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle game for a portable platform. Not what you would expect from a Ninja Turtles game, this one is actually based on the original Mirage comics and has a more mature tone and setting. Plays kind of like the original Prince of Persia, just not as good, and the controls are painfully crude, as it's meant to be played on a keyboard, not a controller. Despite having some decent graphics, I just could not get into this, and the primitive clicks and beeps from the old MS-DOS audio didn't help either. Another game that made it into my top 5 of all time, a true evolution of the original coin-up and one totally radical Ninja Turtle game.
Get ready to rumble!
This is the sequel to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Fall of the Foot Clan, and just like the first Game Boy game, the player can select a turtle between stages. But when a turtle is defeated during a stage, he is captured. The player gets a chance to rescue a captured turtle after clearing a stage. Much the same as the first game, with a couple of new moves, some voice samples for the turtles, and slightly better graphics. The best Ninja Turtle game on the NES, and also the best you can get on any 8-bit home system. It's got 2-player simultaneous mode, extra moves, new levels, and nearly every Turtles boss character you can think of from the Turtles franchise. The visuals are great too, with nice use of colour and plenty of animations. The only negative is the usual NES screen flicker when there's a lot going on, but considering the limitations and what they managed to cram in here, it's super impressive. Still the king of the Ninja Turtle games in my books. Extra levels, extra boss characters, balanced gameplay and a great soundtrack. I covered this in my top 5 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle video, so if you want to check that video out, I will leave a link below in the description. Yet another Turtles game, this time on the Genesis, that made it into my top 5 list, and yet another great version of the Turtle in Time arcade. It's got less levels than both the arcade and the SNES version, but they are much longer and crammed full of Ninja Turtle goodness. And it's got that totally tubular soundtrack too. It's the third Ninja Turtle game on the Game Boy, and it's a bit different than the first two. Each turtle has the usual strike and jump moves, as well as one special ability that you must use at various parts of each level in order to progress through the game. It's got the best visuals and sound of the 3 Game Boy games, and if you like Metroid style gameplay with your Ninja Turtles, you will enjoy this one. As far as Street Fighter clones go, this is actually one of the best out there. Lots of characters, plenty of unique moves and animations, and a decent soundtrack. If you like your Street Fighter versus gameplay set in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle universe, you really can't go wrong here. Although I'd play the SNES version and just forget about the other two on the Genesis and the NES. This is the first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle game released on the Game Boy Advance. I really enjoyed this one. The visuals and sound are great, the controls are spot on, and it's got some unique mini-games mixed in between the brawling levels to keep things interesting. It's single player only, but don't let that put you off. Each turtle has a unique set of moves and a unique story and campaign. So even though the game is a short playthrough, it's almost completely different for each of the 4 turtles, so there's a decent amount of content crammed in here. Once again, Konami landed the rights to adapt the 2003 TV series into a video game franchise, resulting in a new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game. The plot of this game is loosely based on the first season, but I'd watched that cartoon before I'd play this. Some decent visuals and sound mixed with repetitive gameplay and dumb enemy AI can't save this one from a one-way trip to Ninja Turtle Palookaville. The second of the Konami games based on the 2003 TV series. Just as the previous game was an alternate retelling of the first season, Battle Nexus adapts episodes from Season 2. Although it still suffers from many of the same issues as the first game, it does improve the combat with the ability to block and counterattack, as well as 3 different levels of charge attacks. The music wasn't bad either, and there was some well done cartoon cutscenes. Not a great game, but not a bad one either, and the best of the second era of Konami's 3 Ninja Turtle games. The third and final Konami game based on the 2003 TV series, this time adapting elements from the third season of the cartoon. I can't find anything positive to say about this game other than having some nice cartoon style cutscenes and some decent voice sampling. I'd skip this one completely unless you like horribly repetitive gameplay and really annoying enemy AI. As with Battle Nexus, up to 4 players can play simultaneously, and this one featured an unlockable version of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Turtles in Time, just with awful music and unintentionally funny voice sampling of the turtles.
April O'Neil reporting.
Hey, Krang, bring that statue back, you bloated beanbag.
That's it guys for part 1 of the video. Stay tuned for part 2 where I'll cover the rest of the more modern Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle games released from 2005 to 2016. Don't forget to hit the bell icon so you get a reminder when part 2 is out, and do sub to the channel as it really motivates me to keep making interesting videos like this one. So until the next video, thanks for watching and have a totally awesome and radical day, dude.
Last chance to be friends, dude!